Hello guys and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be showing you guys my take on the Salamangreat deck profile, so let's go ahead and jump on into it. Starting off, of course, we do run our one copy of Gazelle. Gazelle is the main start of the deck, being able to, on normal or special summon, be able to send a Salamangreat card from deck to graveyard, which is really good, and also has another effect that says that if a Cyberse monster touches the graveyard, from sent to the graveyard, it can special summon itself from the hand, which is amazing. Continuing on, we run 3 copies of Spinny in this build. Spinny has the ability that you can discard it from your hand to target one Salamangreat monster and make it gain 500 attack. It also has the other ability that if you control another Salamangreat monster while this card is in your graveyard, you can special summon it but banish it when it leaves the field. Really good effect. Continuing on, we have 3 copies of Foxy. Foxy has the effect of when it's summoned, you can excavate the top 3 cards of your deck and add one Salamangreat monster from the revealed cards to your hand, and then if you do, shuffle the rest of the cards back into the deck. It also has another effect that if this card is in the graveyard and a face-up spell or trap card is on the field, you can discard one Salamangreat card, special summon this card, and then you can destroy one face-up spell or trap card on the field. So it kind of works to get around opponent spells and traps, and allows you to also summon it back and just send your monsters to the graveyard, which is really good for this deck. Continuing on, I personally run 2 copies of Jack Jaguar. Jack Jaguar's main effect that we use is the effect that while this card is in the graveyard, you can special summon it to a zone a Link monster points to by shuffling one Salamangreat monster from the graveyard into the deck. So practically that can get you to either recycle one of your Link monsters, which would be the main thing you'd use it for, or if you really need to just put back Gazelle for some reason, that is an option. Continuing on, we do run 1 copy of Salamangreat Falco. Falco has the effect that if this card is sent to the graveyard, you can target one Salamangreat spell or trap card in your graveyard and set that target to your field. This also has another effect that says if this card is in your graveyard, you can target one Salamangreat monster you control, except for Salamangreat Falco. Then you can return that monster to the hand, and if you do, special summon this card. You can only use 1 effect per turn, and only once that turn. So pretty much the main use for this is to kind of get around, set your spells and traps. However, it also is really good for being able to bounce back, let's say, your Gazelle to your hand, so that way you can pretty much summon it back out almost immediately. Continuing on, I run 1 copy of Falco. Falco just says that if it's Salamangreat monster except for, Foul. It has the effect that if a Salamangreat monster except Salamangreat Foul is normal or special summoned, except during the damage step, you can special summon this card from your hand. So that's practically just a way to chain block. It also has the effect of you can send 1 Salamangreat card from your hand or face up on the field to the graveyard and target 1 set spell or trap card your opponent controls. That card cannot be activated this turn, so it kind of has a Trickstar Light Stage lockdown kind of effect. That's it for the Salamangreat monsters. Continuing on to the generic Cyberse monsters that we run. We decided to opt for the Flame Buffalo build. Flame Buffalo just has the effect of if this face-up card is, if it leaves the field, you can discard 1 Cyberse monster, and then if you do, draw 2 cards. You can only activate that once per turn. And I personally do run 1 copy of Lady Debug as well to kind of help get to our starter, our starters or combo pieces that we need. Moving on to the hand traps. I run 3 copies of Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring. Really good card, obviously, one of the best hand traps. I like to run 3 Effect Veiler. You can, I could see arguments for running that, instead of that, run a card I don't know, a Drone Lockbird could be really good this format. You could run DD Crow main deck, that would be alright as well. But I just like Effect Veiler because it just helps to slow your opponent down, and it's not a once per turn. And then, of course, I run 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence to wrap up the hand traps. Salamangreats usually can run a good many more hand traps. I just personally like 9 in this build. Continuing on to the spell cards, we run 3 copies of Sign Up Mining. This card has 2 effects. The main effect that you'll use is to be able to add a Salamangreat monster from your deck to your hand. However, it also has another effect that says you can target one Salamangreat Link monster you control that was Link summoned using a material with the same name as that Link monster. And then that monster is unaffected by monster effects for the rest of this turn, except for its own effect. Again, main reason why you'd run this, you'd activate it, is to get the search. However, that other effect can come up in certain situations. Continuing on with searchers, I run 3 copies of Silent Mining. Silent Mining is really good, being able to discard 1 card from your hand and then add 1 level 4 or lower Cyberse monster from your deck to your hand. You can only activate once per turn, but that doesn't really matter too much. The reason why I say this card is really good, this is actually a combo starter, being able to discard a Cyberse monster, search for the Salamangreat Gazelle, and then because a Cyberse monster was sent to the graveyard, Gazelle can immediately special summon. So this practically says search for a Cyberse monster or special summon Gazelle, which is really, really good. Continuing on to the other Salamangreat spells, we of course have to run 1 copy of Salamangreat Sanctuary. Salamangreat Sanctuary pretty much just says that once per turn you can Link summon a monster from the extra deck, like a Salamangreat monster, by using a card with the same name as its full material. So like, let's say you can if you wanted to link off a Sunlight Wolf into a Sunlight Wolf, then you can, to be able to activate these secondary abilities. And then to wrap up the Salamangreat spells, we run 2 copies of Will of the Salamangreat. This card is practically a monster reborn for the deck. However, it also has the other ability where you can tribute this card, and you don't tribute this card. You target 1 Salamangreat monster that was Link summoned using a card of the same name as its material. Then you can special summon that many monsters from your graveyard up to the monster's Link arrows. So let's say you tribute off your Sunlight Wolf. Since it's a Link 2, you can special summon out 2 Salamangreat monsters from your graveyard. Continuing on, to wrap up the spells, I run 3 copies of Forbidden Droplet, to be able to kind of slow down my opponent's boards and kind of break any boards that they set up. Generically, just a really good card. And then to wrap up the deck with the trap cards, I run 2 copies of Roar. Roar has the ability that it's a spell, trap, or monster effect negation. So an Omni negation if you control a Salamangreat Link monster that was summoned by using a monster of the same name. That's pretty much the whole thing about this deck, if y'all couldn't tell already. And it also has, it's an Omni negate if you control that monster. And it also has another effect while this card is in the graveyard, that you can set it by, if you summon a Salamangreat monster with the same, by using material of the same name. Alright, to wrap up the trap cards, we of course run 2 copies of Salamangreat Rage. This card says, send 1 Salamangreat monster from your hand or face up on the field to the graveyard, then target 1 card on the field, destroy it. However, it also has another effect that says target 1 Salamangreat Link monster you control that was Link summoned using a monster with with its same name as material. Destroy cards your opponent controls up to that monster's Link rating. You can only activate 1 effect per turn, and only once that turn. I think that this is really good numbers, seeing as just being able to pop at least 1 to 2 cards, and then Salamangreat Roar to be able to set up Omni negations, and it can reset itself, as well as being able to set itself off of the effect of the Sunlight Wolf. Alright, and continuing on to the extra deck, we of course run 3 copies of Sunlight Wolf. Sunlight Wolf has the ability that if a monster is summoned to a zone that it points to, you can add 1 fire monster, 1 fire attribute monster from your graveyard to your hand, which can get you back your Gazelle or any other cards you need. It can also add back Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring to add up more negations. And then also has another effect that if this card was summoned using a material with the same name as this card, once per turn you can target 1 Salamangreat spell or trap card and set it to your side of the field, which kind of just allows you to, again, add back, set your Rage, your Roar, or even your, your spell cards if you need. Continuing on, you run 3 copies of Salamangreat Balinx. Balinx has the effect of when it's summoned, you can add one Salamangreat Sanctuary from your deck to your hand. It also has a second effect where if a Salamangreat monster would be destroyed by battle or card effect while this card is in the graveyard, you can banish this card to protect it. That is a once per turn, of course. But that's a really good card. I really like Balinx being able to just set that back up. Continuing on, we do run one copy of Lingaribo. Lingaribo is pretty much just if your opponent activates a trap card, you can tribute it and then negate and destroy. Or negate and then banish. Alright, and then continuing on, we do run one copy of Update Jammer. Update Jammer has the ability of once per battle during the damage calculation of your Cyberse monster battles, quick effect, you can activate this effect to negate all other card effects on the field until the end of the damage step. Damage calculation for battles with each monster's original attack and defense. Also, if your opponent's monster is destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard, inflict 1,000 damage to your opponent. So practically, that being said, if your monster attacks, pretty much it just goes to their original attack and defense, as well as just being able to stop them from activating other cards, and then burn for 1,000 points of damage if the opponent's monster is destroyed. However, that doesn't come up too often. The main use for this card is that if it is used as a link material, the monster that is summoned by using this as a material can attack twice. So what we run with that is we run one copy of Transcode Talker. So practically what this card does is pretty much once per turn you can target one level 3 or lower link monster in your graveyard, and then you can special summon it to a zone that this card points to, and then you cannot special summon monsters the turn you activate the effect except for Cyberse monsters, but that doesn't really matter because if you have to summon this, you're about to win the game. So of course you would make Update Jammer and one other monster, then you would link it to Transcode Talker. Transcode Talker would summon back Update Jammer, and then of course you would link those two off into Access Code Talker. Update Jammer will make it to where Access Code Talker can attack twice. This becomes a 5,300 because of transcode, and you can just pop a bunch of cards and pretty much go for game. So practically all you need to win with this deck going second is being able to set up Update Gem or one other monster to start link climbing into access code. And then to wrap up the link monsters, we do run one copy of Decode Talker Heat Soul. This card says that you can pay 1,000 life points to draw one card, and if your life points are 2,000 or less, you can apply the effect to banish this card from the field, and if you do, special summon one link 3 or lower Cyberse monster from your extra deck except for Decode Talker Heat Soul. So practically, that being said, is if you get your life points low enough, you can tribute this to summon out pretty much any link 3 or lower monster from your extra deck for practically for free. But main thing we're going to use this for is, of course, the draw effect. Continuing on to the Xyz monsters, we run one copy of Mirage Stallion. Mirage Stallion has the effect of you can discard, detach one material from this card to special summon one Salamangreat monster from your extra deck. Not from your extra deck, from your main deck. And then it says that the main downside to this is you are locked into fire monsters for the rest of the turn. Then this says that if it's sent to the graveyard as a material for a link summon of a Salamangreat monster, you can target one monster on the field, return it to the hand, and you can only use each effect once per turn. Alright, continuing on, we do run one copy of Baguska, the terribly tired taper. Practically, this card, you want to summon this in defense position, and it negates all your opponent's monsters' effects and puts them into defense position. Main weakness to this, of course, is your opponent's link monsters. Then, of course, continuing on, we do run one copy of Abyss Dweller. I think Abyss Dweller is really good right now, being able to kind of shut down Tier Element entirely just by setting this card up. For the last card, I like to run Time Thief Redoer, mainly because I really like the effect to be able to take your opponent's cards off the top of their deck, as well as being able to possibly negate, draw a card, or even banish Redoer and summon it back during the end phase. This is just my personal touch for this deck. If you want a bit more of a competitive edge, you could easily run AA Zeus instead of this to kind of wipe fields. but I just really like Redoer in a bunch of my builds. Alright guys, so that's going to be about it for the video. Be sure to leave a like, comment down below what you think of the deck profile, and be sure to subscribe if you really enjoyed. And be sure to check out the Twitter, it is going to be in the description of the video. Alright, see ya.